Heading off-grid sounds exciting. Until your phone dies. You can't find clean water. Or one small emergency turns into a survival situation. The truth is, most people don't get into trouble because they forgot something big. They get into trouble because they overlooked one small piece of gear. In this video, I'll show you 5 compact items that experienced campers and survival enthusiasts never leave behind. One of them could keep you connected to rescuers. Another could save your life during an unexpected night outdoors. Before you disappear off the grid, make sure these are in your pack. When you're out camping deep in the woods or trying to survive in the wilderness, the worst thing isn't the mosquitoes. It's having your gear die and completely losing touch with the outside world. That's exactly why the Jackery Explorer 300 is a favorite among preppers. It's small, but it packs a punch. So let's look at exactly what it can and cannot do when you're out in the middle of nowhere. My very first impression of this unit was its portability. It only weighs about 7 pounds. It's super compact, and the handle feels incredibly solid. There are 4 large rubber feet on the bottom, too, so you can confidently set it down on rough, rocky terrain without worrying about it slipping around. Now, as far as power goes, it features a 293 watt-hour capacity. It runs on a pure sine wave inverter, which keeps your sensitive electronics safe. To put that into perspective, this mini beast can charge 6 devices at the same time. Based on the data, it handles 31 iPhone charges and about 3 to 4 laptop charges. You can also expect to juice up a drone or a DSLR camera anywhere from 6 to 15 times. At night, it has plenty of power to run a cooling fan, power some LED lights, or even run a TV and a Bluetooth speaker for entertainment. When it comes to recharging the unit itself out in the woods, you can hook it up to a solar panel. When using the Solar Saga 100 watt panel, it takes about 3.5 hours to get it up to 80%. If you're charging it at home before heading out, there's a trick. Plugging it into the wall outlet and the USB-C port at the same time will bring it to 100% in exactly 2.5 hours. That's incredibly fast. But here's the thing. We need to be realistic about its limitations so you don't get caught off guard out there. You cannot bring an espresso machine, a vacuum cleaner, or a space heater out here and plug it in. It will shut down instantly. This unit simply isn't designed to run high-heat appliances or deep freezers for meat. It also encounters issues in extreme weather. If you take it into areas colder than 14 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter than 104 degrees Fahrenheit, this power station will stop working. And if you're just unboxing this unit, keep this in mind. It usually ships sitting at 0% capacity, so you'll need to charge it for a few hours at home first. So if your goal for going off-grid is just keeping the lights on, staying connected, and keeping your camera gear, work setups, and basic entertainment devices powered up, the Jackery Explorer 300 is a perfect, durable companion. It's absolutely worth the money. But if you're looking to run a rice cooker or an air conditioner, you'll need to look for larger models. Before you pack your bags and hit the trail, there is one thing you absolutely have to secure before you even think about a knife or fire. And that is your drinking water. You can survive 3 weeks without food, but without clean water? You are done in 3 days. Almost every experienced backcountry traveler carries a survival game changer in their pack. It is called the Sawyer Mini Water Filter. It is as tiny as a lighter, weighs less than 40 grams. But this microsystem uses medical-grade hollow fiber membrane technology to eliminate 99.99999% of harmful bacteria like E. coli and cholera, as well as microplastics. According to the manufacturer, this tiny filter has a lifespan of up to 378,000 liters of water. That means it can literally last you a lifetime. The system is highly portable and incredibly versatile. You can scoop up dirty water in the pouch and squeeze it through the filter. You can screw it directly onto standard 28mm plastic water bottles. Or, you can just attach the straw to drink straight from the stream. At about $20, it is highly affordable. But to get the most out of it out in the wild, independent user evidence points to 3 specific field hacks. First, ditch the included squeeze pouch. The seams burst way too easily. Replace it with a hard plastic bottle like a smart water bottle. It matches the threads perfectly and it is drastically more durable. Second, muddy stream water will clog your filter in no time. So, you can wrap a small coffee filter mesh over the intake. That acts as a pre-filter to block out heavy debris. Finally, over extended trips, the flow rate is going to slow down. You need to use the included syringe to backflush it regularly. And if tough mineral scale builds up, you can take it home and soak it in a 1:5 ratio of vinegar and hot water for an hour to restore its performance. But you have to be realistic. No piece of gear is perfect. Independent testing and manufacturer warnings highlight critical, life-saving limitations. It does not filter out viruses, heavy metals, or chemicals. That means you must absolutely avoid water sources near factories, industrial zones, or agricultural fields sprayed with pesticides. Stick strictly to pristine, natural water sources. Also, it cannot handle freezing temperatures. If you are heading into the mountains in the winter, any water left inside will freeze. It will crack the internal membranes and render it completely useless. Ultimately, for around $20, the Sawyer Mini remains compact, durable, and highly deserving of a spot in your off-grid pack. Because staying prepared is exactly how you stay safe out there. When your cell service drops to zero, the line between a backcountry adventure and a survival situation gets incredibly thin. In that moment, you don't need a glossy smartphone, you need a legitimate lifeline. From my experience, the Garmin inReach Mini 2 is exactly what's going to keep you alive. Look at this thing. It's ultra compact. Weighing a mere 100 grams, it fits right in the palm of your hand. And this rugged, rubber-armored design can handle absolute abuse and the harshest weather elements you can throw at it. It runs on the Iridium satellite network. That means whether you're down at the bottom of a canyon or up on a high peak, you can still do two-way messaging and trigger an SOS. The tracking on this device is incredibly responsive because it locks onto 4 major satellite constellations simultaneously. Now, here is the critical part. If things go sideways, you press this button. Just like that, you're connected directly to the International Emergency Response Coordination Center. They'll know exactly who you are and exactly where you're located. Then, they'll dispatch a chopper or local search and rescue to come get you out. What if you happen to get lost? Don't panic. The device will automatically retrace your route and guide you right back to your starting point, thanks to a highly sensitive digital compass. You can also pre-program 3 check-in messages, things like, "I'm doing fine" or "I've arrived." You can send them to your family completely free and completely unlimited. Back home, your family can even track your live location on a map using the Map Share feature. So, a lot of people say iPhones have satellite SOS now, so why bother with this? Trust me, deep in the woods, a single drop that shatters your screen, or a freezing cold night that kills your phone battery, will give you your answer. The Garmin inReach Mini 2 is built strictly for survival, and its battery can last anywhere from 14 to 60 days, depending on your settings. But here's the thing. Even though the company claims a 14-day battery life, that's under clear skies. In the real world, if you're trekking under heavy tree canopy or deep inside a canyon, the device has to constantly struggle to find a satellite. When that happens, the battery can drain completely in just 1 to 2 days. Look, the Garmin inReach Mini 2 isn't a device for browsing the web or entertainment. But when you go off-grid, it's the most valuable life insurance policy you can strap to your pack. If you happen to break down on the road, lose your way, or get stranded on a mountain peak when temperatures drop below freezing, surviving without a tent becomes a serious challenge. But there's an incredibly small piece of gear that could mean the difference between life and death. The S.O.L 2-person XL Emergency Bivvy. This is an emergency survival sleeping bag. In the survival community, we always prepare for the worst-case scenario. And this bivvy isn't meant for glamorous recreational camping. It's a lifesaver when things spin completely out of control. Design-wise, it's ultralight. It weighs just over 100 grams. That means it fits easily into a pants pocket or a small corner of your trunk. The entire bag comes in a high-visibility orange. That way, helicopters or search and rescue teams can spot you from a distance. Now, the standout feature of this XL version is its massive size. It measures 60 by 84 inches. So there's plenty of room for 2 people to get inside and share body heat. The biggest benefit comes down to the material. It's an aluminum-coated, tear-resistant polyethylene. This aluminum layer reflects 90% of your radiated body heat right back at you, providing instant warmth. And combined with the fully sealed seams, it's completely waterproof and windproof against rain and snow. The material itself has a rubberized feel, and it's incredibly tough. If a stray branch happens to puncture it, the tear stops right there instead of ripping wide open. You can just slap on a piece of duct tape, and it's good to go. If you want, you can even flip it inside out, and it turns into a standard emergency blanket to wrap around yourself. But as convenient as it is, there are a few critical limitations to consider so you don't end up in serious trouble. First, it does not insulate you from the ground. The bivvy only traps your radiant body heat. It won't block the cold seeping up from the earth. You also need to stay away from sharp rocks. No matter how tough the material is, it's still a thin plastic film. Laying it directly on jagged rocks will tear it instantly. Then, there's the challenge of repacking it. The manufacturer uses industrial presses to roll this thing down to the size of a palm. Once you deploy it, trying to roll, compress, and stuff it back into that original stuff sack is incredibly frustrating. So, it's hard to fold, and it definitely won't replace a standard tent. But given the price, and a weight of just over 100 grams, it remains a must-have item for your bug-out bag or your vehicle's trunk before you head off-grid. When packing to go off-grid, we usually focus on the worst-case scenarios. But we tend to forget one basic fact. The things that actually make your life miserable out in the backcountry are small knife cuts, scrapes from rocks, or blisters from hiking. If you ignore them, these minor injuries can easily get infected and ruin your entire trip. That's why this 150-piece mini first aid kit is the perfect piece to fill that gap. I really appreciate how practical this kit is. For a dirt cheap price tag of right around $10, the value you get here is honestly insane. Inside, it's packed with safe, 100% latex-free medical supplies. You get assorted sizes of adhesive bandages, sterile gauze, iodine pads, and antiseptic wipes. It has burn gel, gloves, tweezers, shears, and an elastic bandage. Best of all, it features a built-in survival whistle. It's a small detail, but one that could save your life if you ever get lost. The hardshell case itself is made of high-quality, water-resistant EVA material, with a smooth PU coating that's incredibly easy to wipe down. It's compact, measuring 6.49 by 4.92 by 2.76 inches, and weighs only about 330 grams. Plus, it comes with a carabiner so you can clip it right onto your pack. Looking inside, the interior is smartly organized with clear laminate pockets. When you're facing an emergency and panic sets in, you can spot exactly what you need at a glance instead of tearing everything apart. The kit also includes a highly useful contents checklist and first aid guide. Even a veteran who served in Baghdad shared that he kept a field-grade trauma kit in his vehicle, but was left completely helpless when his wife tripped and scraped her hand. Why? Because that tactical kit didn't have a single small band-aid. This 150-piece kit is the perfect solution for those minor, but annoying mishaps. It's excellent for the price. But as a guide, I have to be completely upfront about its limitations, so you don't let your guard down. Let's be realistic. This kit is strictly for minor cuts, scrapes, and basic first aid. You aren't going to find a defibrillator or advanced trauma gear in here. To keep the price low, some of the included metal tools, like the shears, are pretty mediocre, and the tweezers are really only good for pulling splinters. If you're particular about your gear, you'll probably want to swap them out for a better pair of shears. You should also keep in mind that this product carries a California Proposition 65 warning for the chemical DHP, which can be harmful if exposure occurs incorrectly. Ultimately, this isn't a combat zone trauma kit, but it's an incredibly practical companion for any off-grid trip. Spending $10 to easily handle 90% of those minor trail injuries and buy yourself some peace of mind is absolutely worth it.